Welcome to the Greater Niagara Fishing Expo in Niagara Falls, New York. It is segment 2 of day 2 here at the show, and joined now by Chip Cartwright and CJ Baker from Silver Streak. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, great having you guys. We were just talking before we went on here. You guys are, you do most of your salmon fishing on Lake Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have your boats in Ludington.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about what it was like fishing Ludington last year.
It was exceptionally good. It was not as good as the year before, but it was still very good. Very consistent. Fish are decent size-wise. Yeah.
Had a lot of colder water, so it was kind of nice. You didn't have to fish as deep, so we could run a lot more spoons and plugs and stuff. It was a good fishery.
Good fishing year, though.
Yeah, exceptional.
Talk a little bit about that port. What is it like out there when you leave port? You know, what's the structure? How does that port set up when you're leaving port?
Well, generally, if you're going north, you got the big point, and you got the currents coming in out of the north or south, depending on the time of year. It's deep water, very close deep water. So you can fish right out in front of the harbor and go off the end of where the Pure Marquette River has flowed out over the last 10,000 years.
Yeah.
Or you go north and it's literally a bank. You know, you can be at 100 feet and go to 240 feet within a quarter mile.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's a port, though, for people who don't know that area. That's a big port. There's
one port in the state of Michigan.
Yeah, there's a lot of boats there.
Yeah.
What's it like out there on a July day trying to fish in that kind of traffic?
It's very tense. The mornings are very tense.
Yeah.
You'll have 200 boats. You know, it's crazy. Everybody's jockeying for a position to go up the line, up the point. So it's busy. There's no doubt about it. I came over here for 3 years, and there's nobody around over here compared to there. Yeah.
But it's also nice too. I mean, you're busy with that up at the point, and you can get pretty crowded. But you can go south and get away from the crowds a little bit. Fishing might not be as good, but you're still going to catch a lot of fish. You can still do a lot of different things. You know, you have a lot of different options. That's what's kind of nice about it being there too.
Yeah, I heard you talking to Trevor. You used to be up in Frankfurt, and now you're down in Ludington.
Yep.
What made you make the move there?
It's really the accommodations. I'm just kind of fun fishing now. I'm not running trips up there. We used to run trips up in Frankfurt. But when you bring people in, it was hard to get motels up in Frankfurt. So there's more hotels, more places to go to eat after you're fishing in Ludington. It's just
Ludington's
a lot nicer.
Now.
It's a big city, a lot more amenities
than
than Frankfurt had.
Right. If you guys have questions for CJ or Chip, go ahead and drop them in there, and we'd love to hear from you and kind of join in with the show here as well today with us here. A couple of awesome guests. We've got a great group of shows coming up as well. We got a show coming up here again at 3 o'clock and then again at 6 o'clock today. So 4 shows here from the Greater Niagara Fishing Expo. A really, really busy day. We've been talking some fishing. Let's talk some Silver Streak. What are you guys excited about for 2026? You got some new stuff? What are we talking?
Playing with some different stuff. A lot of new colors. A lot of our new glow stuff. We changed our glow last year to a brighter, really high intense glow, and it seems to be working really well. That was really good for us. So did a lot of new colors in that. Got back into some of the casting spoons again, brought some of the old stuff out, and we got a new jigging spoon with the salmon jiggings being so popular. We did the streak size in a 1 ounce blank now for jigging that we're just playing with and getting going. In fact, I had some buddies up ice fishing with it on Grand Traverse Bay. They were hammering the lake trout with it in 120 foot of water jigging it. So
working out well.
Yeah, that's a good time. I was over there doing a little jigging for cohos on Big Plat a couple years ago. That was a ton of fun too. Is that something that you guys are working with these spoons to do something like that?
Yep. Yeah, that's what we're targeting with that is the guys jigging right in the harbors or up on Platte. And even there's a lot of people out jigging for lake trout off the reefs and stuff. So you can fish it shallow or you can fish it deep. And I think, I got back to the old pier fishing days when we used to cast a regular streak when there was no wind, because I think we get more bites on that flutter down than on the retrieve. I think so. Just trying to increase your odds a little bit. So instead of like the lead jigs that they're using and just up and down. And if you get that flutter a little bit, just give them a little chance to find it, and it's something a little bit different that they haven't seen from everybody else is doing. So
we're a trolling company. Obviously, you guys are making a ton of trolling spoons. That's what we like to talk about, but we are seeing a big trend towards people wanting to go out and do some jigging. You guys are obviously seeing that trend too because you're making a spoon to do that. What do you think is kind of getting people excited about going and doing a different style of fishing while they're chasing salmon?
Just more hands-on.
Yeah.
More hands-on.
It's feeling the bite with the rod in your hand
the thud.
and
That's what
that initial run. Plus, it's nice if you're in the smaller boats, even if it's a busy or a blow day or something, you can still get out and fish. If you're just up there for the weekend, now it's going to blow all weekend, well, you can still go fish the harbors and cats. You still have options instead of being shut out on the big lake.
Makes it a little harder for us to get through.
Right.
But
That's the biggest thing. I think it's hands-on.
It's just new. It's just different options. It gives you a bunch of different stuff to do.
Yeah, I've seen what Ludington Harbor can look like in late August.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty tough to navigate with as many boats that are out there. But I think a lot of it, though, is just the proliferation of live sonar. It makes that jigging game a lot more fun.
Oh, yeah.
It makes that jigging game just possible. It's hard to do it when you're out there, kind of fishing in the blind, but being able to scan around and see what's going on around you has really created this jigging market that maybe wasn't there before.
Oh, yeah.
I went walleye fishing here a few weeks back with my son, and he's got all that stuff. And I'm like, this is cheating. This is cheating now. But it really makes it a lot of fun because you can see the fish come up and follow it. And you can entice it to get the bite. Like you said, before you kind of fished blind. You knew they were there, but you didn't know if they were following. Now you can see their fins, their gills, everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was out in Sunset Bay last August doing a little fishing out there for walleyes, and we were running a trolling program, but these guys were looking for the big ones, and we're like, let's troll for a while, let's see what those big ones, see how they materialize in our trolling program, but we also want to see if we can throw stuff at them. So we were doing kind of everything. We were pulling worm harnesses, we were pulling spoons, we were pulling stick baits, we were doing bottom bouncers, and then we'd stop and throw at them, using live scope. So I think that's another thing that people forget about. They think, oh, we're going to go fishing today, we're just going to troll, or we're just going to fish with a live scope, we're just going to do that. But I think you can really mix up the day, and as things happen, and you start to kind of read the water and read the fish, you can switch your program up during the day and do different things while you're out there.
Well, yeah, if you're out having a personal day, yes. When you're chartering, you got to be efficient at what you're doing. You got to have bites. It doesn't matter if, they say, oh, well, you didn't get big fish. I said, I got 6 guys. They want a real fish on. It's all about the bite. If I'm tournament fishing, yeah, I'm looking for 5 bites. When I'm walleye fishing for customers, I got 36 fish in the boat. So we're gonna cover water, look for aggressive fish, and just fish that way. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people go casting with other people, and they're like, "Oh, we had a great time, but we only caught 8 fish." Well, that's casting. It's like the early spring jigging. I do that, and everybody thinks it's so easy. You just go out and throw it in and you catch them. Jig fishing is an art. It is an art. You got to understand how to use your stick. So.
And that's been my experience too. When we were walleye fishing, the days I was there, it didn't seem to matter what you did. You were going to catch a lot of fish, and it didn't seem to matter what you did. They're the same kind of percentage of big fish to smaller fish were there. But when you're out there salmon jigging, it is a lot of fun. It's interactive. You can feel that bite. But if you want to catch a lot of fish, it's hard to be trolling because, like you say, you're just covering more water. Yeah.
Well, and it goes back to what I tell people when I do seminars. It's like, what do you want your day on the water? That's going to determine how you go about your day. Like CJ said, if you're charter fishing, yeah, we want a lot of fish in a short amount of time. So it's quantity and stuff. But if it's one guy and he just wants to go out and catch a fish for dinner or wants one big one, well, yeah, you're going to approach your day a lot different than how we do. So you really got to look at what you want your day on the water is, because this is supposed to be fun. So if you want to have fun, you got to, target the way that is and figure out how to catch fish that way. that's the end game, is you're going to have fun then.
It's just the enjoyment of being there. You know, you get people that want to jig, and you got people that want to cast, and you got people that want to troll. You know, it's just a variety out there. So, you know, you just got to play it to what they want.
It's nice to do something different every once in a while too.
You know, there's days when we'll go walleye fishing, and we'll go out, 4 or 5 of us captains, and sit and throw a worm over the side and sit there and shoot the shit.
Yeah.
It's like this, you know. Hey, what's going on down, you know. Oh, wow, you know, look at this thing, it's really fighting, you know. But it's just, you got to make what you want to make out of the whole thing.
For sure. Some days I just like to take my shoes off and get some sun on my feet.
That's it. Get rid of the stripes.
Right.
Yeah.
Get on the water, forget about everything for a little bit.
Yeah.
So you guys got some new colors, you got some new jigging spoons out. What are some spoons that, if somebody were to walk into your booth today at the show and say, hey, you know, I've been fishing for 5 or 6 years, but, you know, kind of looking to get some new stuff, some stuff that's different from maybe what I've been fishing with. What are some things that people, if they come into the booth and they want to spend 50, 60 bucks and kind of freshen up their box a little bit, what would you point them towards?
Well, and again, it depends on where you're fishing at. You know, the colors we use back at home is a lot different, you know, because your water's so different out here. You know, it's all greens and yellows out here and stuff, and I rely on Matt a lot because he's out on the water every day. And it's, you know, pickle frogs, which was a new color last year, was really good for him, and green skirts. I mean, he's been on that for 10 freaking years, and it's just steady. You know, it always seems to work. But again, that's green and chartreuse again. So,
back at home,
you look at that. But it kind of varies on everybody's a little bit different too. We all have our personal preferences in colors or patterns. So and that's why we all have so many different colors. Because, well, one guy loves, the next guy says, you can't catch fish on that. You got to run this.
Right.
So when people ask me that, I try to pull out of them, okay, what colors do you like? Do you like blues? Do you like greens? Is there any patterns that and then we'll try to shift them into something that they're more apt to try. Because you can't catch a fish unless you run it. And says, sell me the one that's going to catch me fish. I'm like, everything catches a fish. Just depends on how long you want to drag it around before it catches the fish.
Yeah.
We want to shorten that time as much as possible.
Right.
I mean,
you know, that's the goal.
Like that, you know, there are lures that you can catch them on, he can catch them on, and I can't catch a thing. But when I'm catching them on, you can't catch them.
So,
why? Who knows? I don't know if it's a confidence thing or what it is, but that's just the way it is.
I think it is confidence because you're going to leave it in the water longer at the better times, and odds are you're going to catch more fish on it.
Yep.
But yeah, that's the way we try to do is put the guys into what they're more willing to try. But I mean, some of the standard colors have been around forever. You know, are going to catch fish in and out.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure for you guys. They come into the booth, they want you to pick out something that they're going to catch fish. And if they don't catch fish, they'll be like, well, Chip sold this to me and it doesn't work.
Hey,
I'll tell you too, Ludington, I ran only all the new colors except for glowback blue dolphin, which we talked about here last year. Somebody asked, well, if you had one spoon to run in Ludington, what do you do? Glowback blue dolphin. That's the only standard color I ran all this summer. Otherwise, I'm just playing, so I just played with all the new stuff to see how it compares.
We use a lot of the new stuff so that we have, you know, a year or two year ahead, knowing that it works.
Yep.
So, you know, everybody's researching it constantly, trying to get as best you can. So when we do sell it to somebody, they will catch a fish.
Yeah.
You know, that's the secret. You know, I can sell anything. You can sell ice to an Eskimo.
We got a comment coming in. This is can't beat the sea screw and the blue and green dolphin.
Yep. The old Jerry Lee. He just sold some to a guy today. Yeah. It's Jerry Lee. Is that Jerry Lee? Nope, that's Captain Jerry Lee on the sea screw. He was a.
So CJ, you were just talking about testing new colors and going out there. When you guys are putting these together, obviously when you're designing these things, you know what works. It'd be like somebody designing a football play that's been coaching for 20 years. They kind of got an idea before they start putting pen to paper what might work. But how many times do you go out there with something that you think's going to work, and you get out there and you're like, oh, that just didn't produce?
Oh, that happens more times than you want to know. There's a lot of things that we'll make. We'll paint and move things around. Oh, this thing looks beautiful. This ought to be this the one. They don't touch it. Why? Not a clue. And then you'll take the same colorations, and what we do is we move colors around that are proven colors. And then you'll move one in that you look at it and say, man, I wouldn't buy that. We have one that's on the rack right now. It's been there for 2 years. And people catch fish on it. I wouldn't buy it. It's ugly to me, but it works. He had told me years and years ago, he says, man, that's beautiful. I said, yeah. He says, well, what are you going to do when you got to make 800 of those? I'm like, I never thought about that. He says, you got to keep it somewhat simple, but you can get, artistic with it.
CJ paints a lot of the stuff. He'd have 15 colors on there. I'm like, well, that's pretty, but holy cow, when you got to start painting by the hundreds, it's like, when you got 15 colors on one spoon, it's like, man.
That's what I was going to ask you
crazy.
next is, you've got lures that you think will work that don't, but you ever give like a little kid a picture of a fish and say paint it, and they put all this wild stuff on there that doesn't make any sense?
Oh.
Does that happen where you're like, there's no way this is going to work, and it does?
We've gotten some pictures from some kids, and I'm like, draw something up that you want. And, they're crayons, it's all scribbling, and he'll try to paint something up close to it, and we've send the picture back with the kid, and like, when you catch a fish, send me a picture with it. And then they catch a fish, they think it's just the greatest thing in the freaking world.
Yeah, that's
we've done that for little kids all the time.
Kids,
it's just you gotta do that to get them hooked on fishing, and that's what it's all about, getting kids into this, and the next generation. We're kind of laughing like, we're the old buggers around here anymore now. We got all these new guys coming into
we're
this.
At the end of the prime.
It's like we've been here too long.
Yeah, it's like one of our standby colors is our pink panties. Well, my son, he was 7, 8 years old, something like that, when I made that.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to him on the phone. I said, you got to look at this thing. This is slick.
No, we're out fishing.
And we went fishing with it in Huron. And he said, man, it was just on fire. He said, well, what are we going to call it? And my son gets the wine. My youngest son, and he's a captain now. He gets the wine and that. And I said, just put your pink panties back on. And he looks at me and goes, that's the name. That's the name.
Yep.
And it's took off from there. It's stuck.
His son hates it.
Oh yeah,
that's named after you, Travis. Your pink panties.
Oh yeah. Gotta have pink panties, son. Gotta have pink panties.
That's an interesting thing too, and I asked pretty much every lure manufacturer that comes in is like, how'd you come up with something? Because some of these names are they're interesting, and a lot of them have a story behind them. What's kind of the favorite name that you guys have? You just told me the story about pink panties, but do you have another story about a name of a color pattern that you have in your line that you like to tell?
Oh, I don't know, one that sticks out. I mean, usually when you come up with good nicknames, there's a lot of alcohol involved. Back in the old days, we didn't even name the stuff when we came to the shows. That's when we showed all the new colors. So after the show at night, you go out drinking, and that's when you come up with the nicknames. When you're all sitting around drinking, and a lot of them we can't use, but.
Yeah. There's hot lobster with butter. That was Jerry Lee and I, and we're in Scottsville at a restaurant one night.
You just never know where they come from.
Yeah,
good ideas, or.
He's looking at it. That looks like hot lobster with butter. Okay, sounds good to me.
Hot lobster with butter it is.
That's what it was. The red head, and back butter, and blue glow, and it works.
You never know where the names come from. I mean, it's harder. There's so many now. It's getting a little harder after the years.
And you go from port to port, the names are different. You go from like the classics from us is the mongoose. Well, the mongoose was named as what we used it, but it was called a Bruja in Frankfurt. So, port to port is a little bit different as far as naming it.
Now it's more if we put Chili Willy tape on it, and now it's a Chili Goose instead of the mongoose. It's like, it just kind of.
Well, it's really fun to talk about colors. I think people like talking colors because it catches your eye. But really, we talk to expert anglers and guys like you, and well, you guys are expert anglers. Don't let me say that. Make it sound like you're not expert anglers. But, we talk to guys like you and just people throughout, and they're like, a lot of people get caught up on color, but that profile is probably way more important than color. Can you talk a little bit about that? And you guys have several sizes of your trolling spoons and how people should use those and utilize those throughout the season.
Yeah, it's gone through the different sizes, and each one's a little different. and has a different action. It's like the regular streaks, we made it work as many conditions as possible. It's a higher trolling speed, more for the steelhead and stuff, than say like the magnums. Where we originally did the magnum was for lake trout fishing. So that's why it's a different profile. It's wider, farther back. That gives you a little better action at the slower speeds for lake trout fishing. And I remember that was when my dad started that, and he's like, yeah, silver and gold, we're not painting those, no nothing, just for lake trout. Yeah, that lasted like a week.
Yeah.
No, we got to have them all painted, so snowball that. But it's more size of the bait, and I see a trend going back to the smaller stuff now. Even salmon fishing, guys that were all mags, they're running more streaks. And even for us, on Lake Erie, we fish Western Basin most of the time for our walleye fishing. And I think it's more circumstances. We were running all minis 3-4 years ago, but we had so many short fish. We had those great hatches, and try to keep the small fish away. We went to a lot of bigger spoons, and we even had to go to bigger plugs because by the time you try to clip it onto your board, you got a little freaking 10-incher on there, and you just can't run enough rods to get keepers. So we did that, but now the last 2 years, we're back to juniors. We don't have so many throwbacks, and we're generating more bites on the smaller spoons than the bigger stuff. So,
what do you see with profile, CJ?
Pretty much what he just said. It is, and their downside is it's match to hatch. We ran a lot more juniors this last year. I think the bait we didn't have, in the fall especially, we didn't have the shad show up like they normally do in Huron till late. So I ran spoons quite a while. Even when the water got cold, I was still running spoons because the hatch was small. And you could run bandits or whatever else, and they just didn't want to take it. Ran a lot more of the smaller crankbaits. They were looking for something smaller. Now, is that because of the hatch and what's out there? Now, we caught a lot of little fish this fall, which I have not seen in a lot of years. And we're talking 6 to 8, 9 inches. We're talking this year's hatch, last year's hatch. So, yeah, definitely the smaller was better all year.
Well, you guys obviously, you do a lot with spoons. That's your business. But when you're out fishing on Lake Michigan, are you mixing it up? Are you running some meat? Are you running some flasher fly stuff too?
Oh, yeah.
We run it all. It's all there. We don't just stick with one.
Yep.
It's all about the bite. We have a premier spoon. It's been there for 43 years. It does the job day in, day out, but you have to be versatile. You have to move around. You have to run some meat. When the meat all hit the market, now it's a piece of the puzzle. It isn't the puzzle. Oh, this is the greatest thing. No, it's a piece of the circle. Yes, there's time and places, and it works really well. Spinners and flies. It's seasonal, the timing and everything as it works through. So.
Look, it goes back to what you want your day on the water. You want just big fish. I mean, meat's a better big fish. It's more tournament stuff. What do you want your day on the water? But then too, it's like everything. Every day is different. So yeah, you're going to try meat, you're going to try some plugs, you're going to try some spoons and see what the fish want that day. Every day is different. I mean, I like to sell spoons, but I like to catch fish. If I'm out there, I'm going to run what I got to run to catch fish. Even now we're chartering. I still charter for the walleye, and we come down to Huron, Ohio in the fall, and Ross has me running lead core and small stick baits. We're getting a little better grade of fish. We can still catch them just as fast, almost as fast as spoons. It's a little slower getting them in and out, but if we can catch a little bit bigger fish, the customers like that. So then that's what we do. Because I'm not there to sell spoons. I'm there to make the customers happy. So.
One of the things we were talking about yesterday too was that, you're running that meat program. Maybe you're running a little bit slower, so they want to downsize those spoons and you're running a little bit slower. You guys talk a little bit about that profile size based on the speeds you're running, and if you need to adjust them, if you're running other gear like that, if you're running that mixed program, do you make adjustments in the size of your spoons to just make sure everything's going the right way?
Not really the size of spoons, because that was one goal of ours when we designed the Silver Streaks, is to work in the widest range of anything. Because you never know, one day you might have to be slow, it might have to be fast. So we worked long and hard, and it was even like the junior streak. I designed that one, but I changed the tooling 10 times. And our die makers, they're all Harley guys, and it's changed. And I go there and I'm like, you got to regrind the tool, you got to change this a little bit. He says, that can't make a freaking difference. He says, I barely changed. I'm like, dude, when you put it in the water, it's all the difference in the world. And I finally got it where I liked it because it worked in a super wide range. And I brought him down and we went fishing. When they get on the boat and he cracks his beer and sets that down, fish, fish, fish. Pretty soon he turns around and he says, this is bullshit. I'm like, what's the problem? He says, I ain't had time to drink my beer. I said, that's what we do at the dock while we're cleaning fish.
Right.
Yep.
This is why we changed it 10 times. I said, it makes a difference. If you can really dial that in. And that's where, we own all our own tooling, so no one has a blank like ours.
Can you talk about that for a few minutes? That's a question we get a lot, is what speeds should I be running my spoons at? What do you guys usually target for your down speed when you're running your spoon program?
Well, walleye fishing, you're going to start at 2 to 2.3, depending on what time of year. You can go down to 1.7. Now we're in big boats too, so you can't go much under that. Unless you're in a small boat with an electric motor, now you can go slower. But with a spoon, about 1.7 is as slow as you can go. With the juniors, streaks, you don't want to go much under 2. You just you lose the action, and your odds aren't good. You can still catch fish going that slow, but something else is going to work better. It's not the best presentation for that. So 2.2 to 2.6 are the prime. But even with like a regular streak, you can go 3.2 to 3.5. It's not going to spin on you.
CJ, what are you running for your targeted speeds?
Salmon anywhere from 1.8, 1.9 to 2.5, 2.6. All depends on the day. Whether they want it fast, they want it slow. They want it on the outside turn or the inside turn.
Yeah.
You're always looking. It's a constant put the puzzle together. What they're looking for. Some days it's easy, some days it ain't.
Yeah.
So when you guys are out fishing Lake Michigan, this is another question we get all the time, is how far back from the ball are you running your spoons?
Anywhere, the old days when the water was green, you'd run 10, 12 feet. Now, 50 feet. You could run 30. I got, like my guile down will go 30 feet back. And it's pretty precise. You got to be pretty precise once you figure out what the length they're looking for. If the water's clear, stretch it out. That's all you can do because they don't come up to the ball. It's not like here in Lake Ontario where 10, 12 feet off the ball and they're whacking it. The water's green. It's they're not gunshot because they don't see from a long distance away. So that's probably the biggest thing. Is length of leaders. Like I'll run a paddle down the chute 50 back. That's my deepest rigging. And that 50 foot seems to be the number. Anywhere from 45 to 55 feet. So, the leads are different from every day. Water conditions, up and down, things of that nature. So, like I said, anywhere from 15 to 50 feet.
I'm a little older school. I like the shorter leads, especially on my out downs. I will if I'm running a paddle, I'll stretch that 30 feet down the chute, but I like to keep my out downs shorter up because if you do come across a fish and you spook it or something, he hears the boat or something, I want to give him something to see, come back in and look at the rest of the stuff. So I keep my out downs shorter, 10, 12 feet most of the time. If I'm not doing anything, I might stretch it back, but we found on our divers, I'm running 30 foot behind a diver now, and it's a lot more productive on our dipsies. The longer leads are really a lot better. But it's just like the lead core, as that fish swims away, you want to give him a chance to see all your stuff as he's going by.
Come back into the pattern.
Just trying to increase your odds. You want him to see something. Not every fish that comes to the back of the boat and looks is going to bite, but the more fish you draw in, you're increasing your odds. I'm a numbers guy. If I can increase my numbers, that's what I'm trying to do.
So how long of leads are you running at the end of your lead cores then?
30 feet on my mono. Yeah.
30 to 50.
And that's, like we were saying, the water conditions in Lake Michigan are very different from Lake Erie, very different from Lake Ontario. We did some stuff with Ross today in your booth, and he was talking about kind of some of the favorite colors in your area, and a lot of them had, black bars and those types of things on them. But you get over here to Lake Ontario, and everybody wants dots.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody wants green with dots. So what do you think is up with that? Why the stripes compared to the dots?
I don't know. I'm a dot kind of guy too. We do a lot of dot stuff, all the new stuff. A couple of new patterns are in our old Piranha, which is an old pattern I brought back out, and it's got the bars on there, like the perch bars, and that was really productive again. I think it's just the matching colors and stuff. That's on glow stuff, and some, there's new stuff out there every year for us with the tapes and the paints and stuff. Stuff we couldn't do 10 years ago, we can do now, and play with a lot of stuff. And I like a lot of glitter, and I put glitter in all our spoons. Sometimes you can't even see it. It's a really fine glitter, but that picks up the sunlight so more. And again, it's just trying to make that more visible for the fish. And it's like the UV, but the fish want the UV. I'm like, no, I think it's the same principle as glow in the dark. You're extending that range where the fish can see it. Again, drawing them into the boat. It's not that they want UV, they can see it farther away, so they're going to come and look at it. That's the goal, I think, is draw them into the boat. Then you still have to have the right speed, right presentation, all that other stuff. But the more fish you get to the back of the boat, the more bites you're going to get.
The chances go up anyways, the more they get in the back of the pattern.
Yeah, you guys have been doing this for a long time. You've seen that lake change.
Oh, yeah.
What was it like back in the day before we had the water conditions we have now compared to what that fishing is like now?
Well, I kind of laugh. I ran my first charter as a captain in 1984. My dad had a heart attack. I was 18. He's like, oh, you're running the boat, I'm making lures. I'm like, okay. So I got thrown to the fire on that one. And but back then at Frankfurt, you couldn't see your cannonball 6 feet down. That's why we did the silver plating.
Like over here.
And
very green.
It was totally different. Now you can see your cannonball at 20 feet down, 25 feet down some days.
It's like down 25 feet.
Yeah, that's why we had to go to lead courts, a lot stealthier presentation, but yeah, nothing like the old days when, it's crazy.
So now a lot of times you go out there and you're changing your gear when that sun comes up because the light conditions down in the lake are completely different when that sun comes up. Was that more of a stable thing back when you had that greener water where your program didn't have to change as much?
Longer in the morning. Yeah, it just lasted longer. So it's still like today, if you get a cloudy day or a rainy overcast day, you don't have to change a lot of things early.
I think
but if you get sunshine.
I think back then the bite window was a lot shorter in the morning because it's like, out here, no one goes out before daylight. We've always had to do that in Michigan. So I remember back in the old coho days, Frankfurt was great coho fishing. And it was all dodger and flies or dodger and squids back in the 80s. And we ran 5 downriggers and 2 dipsies back then. But I had 2 rods for every downrigger. Because you get it off, you hand it to the customer, you put the second one down, then you net the fish. Because 45 minutes after daylight, it was done. You could take some bites, but you had to get, while the getting was good, you had that early morning bite. So we seen we can make them bite a little later in the day. Still seem to take bites till 10 o'clock or so in the morning.
It is interesting when I do my trips. If I fish out here in Lake Ontario, most of the time the captains are like, yeah, be down on the boat at 6. And I go on Lake Michigan and we're like, yeah, we'll meet you there at 3:30, at 4.
4:30.
Yeah.
That's in Ludington we have the option of going south or north. And if you're making the long track south, you want to leave by 3:45 in the morning because it's an hour run down to Little Point.
Yeah.
So you want to be there for that prime bite and get what you can get.
I don't think Ross was happy when he fished with me this summer. We ran 16 miles south because the coho bite was on down there. I'm like, well, do we want to catch a bunch today or just some big ones? He says, let's go for the bunch today. I'm like, okay, you're getting here an hour earlier then because it's a 16-mile run. You gotta get down there.
Yeah. If people want to look and see what you guys have and they want to buy some stuff and they're not here at the show, where's the best place online for them to shop for Silver Streak?
Fish USA.
Okay.
They have the biggest selection, or Frank's Great Outdoors. You know, they got great pictures of all the colors. They carry most of the colors. I'd send you my website, but it's about 20 years old and it's terrible. I got a new one coming.
Okay.
I keep trying, but everybody seems to figure out, even though I got a really bad website.
Right now, Fish USA is what.
Fish USA.
Yeah. I've been
great
there and I've
customers.
tried to shop, and I'm like, I think we're gonna go to Fish USA.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think it's one of those things that, as we progress, you know, like you say, you're working on something new, and it'll get better. But right now, you know, I think what people want when they're shopping is an easy experience, an experience where they're going to get their stuff really soon, and they have a good selection. So get them where it is. Really appreciate you guys swinging by here today and spending time with us.
Thank you.
Is there
Thanks for
anything you
having
guys wanted to say that I didn't ask you about today?
No, I think we covered most of the stuff. I mean, it's fishing. We hit on some of the new stuff. I mean, they have all the new colors. They're already up on the website and stuff there. And so either place Frank's or Fish USA is good, or see us at, we got Grand Rapids shows. We only do like 3 shows a year where we come out and talk to the people and kind of show the stuff, just to see what's going on and keep in touch with the customers. So.
Well, very good. These guys will be at the Grand Rapids show in March. And again, you can look them up online and get everything you need new from Silver Streak. A lot of great stuff, a lot of new colors coming out, and you guys make some awesome stuff. So it's fun to see what you do out there when we're out in the water, and a lot of people are big fans of what you guys do.
Been around for a while, work hard at it.
Very good. CJ and Chip with us here at the Greater Niagara Fishing Expo. We'll be back on at 3 o'clock with some new guests, and then back again at 6. So a busy day here at the Greater Niagara Fishing Expo.